Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching me from. Welcome once again to our exciting and beautiful show, Off the Clock. And I am Juliet, your very amazing host. Today we're going to be talking on a very beautiful, inciting, of course, topic. And it's all on the Japa syndrome. So just sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or tea, and we will be right back. Welcome back once again. I hope that you have been fine. I hope that you have been smashing goals like you said you would at the beginning of the year. And we have a very amazing guest, as usual, in the studio. And his name is Mr. Ifeanyi Anizo. He's right here to share light on what we all call the Japa syndrome. Welcome, Mr. Ifeanyi, nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on your global platform. I'm very much grateful for it. I am Mr. Ifeanyi Anizo. I'm the CEO of Trefi Business Solutions. And again, I thank you for welcoming me on your global platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So apart from your name, which is Mr. Ifeanyi, I'd love my audience to have an insight on who you are and what you represent.
Okay, I'm the CEO of Trefi Business Solutions, as I said earlier, and I'm also a data analyst. I analyze data from several parastatals and global industries to be able to monitor trends. And in this case, the Japa trend has been successfully monitored. And again, I engage in, I'm also a travel consultant. So I have the figures and the technical know-how on this topic, as it were. Thank you.
That's very excellent because we can't talk about this topic without having data. No. You can't just be in thin air, just be seeing such and such amount of figures. So professionally, what does Japa syndrome mean to you?
Well, professionally, it's a big hit on our economy, as it were, or the economy of Africans, as it were, because this Japa syndrome is mostly related to the African nations, going to the West or going to Asia to seek greener pastures.
Exactly.
And what I think professionally is, the impact is having professionally, there's a systemic gap, between this individual getting fulfilled or satisfied in a particular country in terms of job security, in terms of he or she's ambition. The country in question is not able to provide the necessary infrastructures, the necessary technicalities that you need, to move up, either to move up in your ambition or in your chosen career, or to have a better life. Everyone needs a better life.
Exactly.
And they are looking for a better life elsewhere. If we have these infrastructures in place in every of these African countries, I don't think this Japa syndrome will be in the minds of these young individuals that are traveling abroad.
Yeah. So it's been established that a little, it's not really little. It's been established that hopelessness in the country is a contributing factor to people jackpying, so to speak. Is there any other factor you think people have in mind when they travel abroad?
Yes, hopelessness isn't really, I wouldn't say hope, it should be a perceived sense of hopelessness. Because if really what a mentor of mine would always say, to think outside the box. Now, if we really allow ourselves to be exposed to new information, new ideas, there are several ways of doing things. There are several ways to achieve a particular goal. You might wake up and say, oh, this is how I want to live my life. I've channeled out in XYZ number of years, I should be here. XYZ number of years, I should be there. Once it's not happening, it shouldn't form a sense of hopelessness. Because probably you might not have tried all the tricks in the book, as it were. So hopelessness I'm not sure it's a case for them to travel abroad.
Okay. So we're going to delve straight into data, because that's why you're here. You're a data analyst and you need to give us figures So for our audience watching, I need you to give us a specific figure, a specific estimation of people that have gone, that have come back. Because I know that there is such a thing as reverse immigration, where people go
And
and they
later
come
come back.
back. So you just give us those figures and just give us something.
With recent trends that I've been able to monitor over time, I have found out that most professionals, okay, it started from the people between the ages of 18 to about 35 years, going to study abroad. Okay, thinking that, okay, if I have an international degree, I will come back to my country and be highly placed in XYZ company. That used to be our ideology then while we were growing up. That international degree is it. So we have these people, with that at the back of their mind, going abroad for study. We had a lot of them, in the between the 1990s and into the year 2000, 2001. We had a lot of them going for to study internationally because they think the international degree, will be able to get them an advantage in coming back to the country. Then again, we have this other group of people, of recent times, for work packages, relocation plans. They say, "Oh, I need my children, in quotes, to have better education, to have better way of life, a more better and not cruel way of life as it is in some African countries." And with this, we are having almost the working age group, the youths perceived. The youths are all migrating now into Western countries and Asian countries. We have a lot, as a data analyst also, I said I've monitored the trend, and the number of visa applications between 2023 and 2025 has skyrocketed. It's in the millions of job applications, in the millions of study permits being issued into Canada, into the United Kingdom, into most schools in Europe, especially in Netherlands. And there's a trend of youths between the ages also of 25 and 40, falling into this category. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on in this trend.
Thank you so much. So we're still on data,
Okay.
and we're talking about how data can help us improve. Because in a country where things are not improving, of course, people would want to, there is a sudden urge to want to run away or Japa, whatever it is. So how does data help to improve the recent?
What I said, in identifying these gaps in our economy in a particular country, let's use Nigeria as a case study, in identifying these gaps of unemployment, of a better education, and identifying these age groups of people. We have a lot of people coming out of school these days, and there's what we call the National Youth Service Scheme, the NYSC. Not every graduate now wants to get into the National Youth Service Corps. Initially it used to be a platform where you get to learn, some skills that will get you marketable in the job industry. But nowadays we haven't gotten that feedback from that corps. So if we can identify these youths, especially those new fresh graduates, if we can identify them and actually get them engaged in probably some workshops or some seminars, what they need, I said initially, it's information. If they can get the right information with this data that we have gotten now from the number of people going abroad to get education, the number of people going abroad for greener pastures, work in terms of work-related migration. If we can identify those gaps and get them engaged, even probably from the university, with the right information, not just vague and ambiguous informations and workshops that are tailored to actually add a skill, to their course of study. You might be probably studying agriculture in school, and the only thing that comes to your mind is how I can own a farm and get a farm and get it. But there's something they call an agricultural technology now. It's not just about the farm. There are machineries that you can get yourself, to learn on the field. There are some farm implements, farm agricultural implements that you can get yourself used to that could help you in the field of agricultural economics. And there are so many other ways also to get yourself trained. There's what they call the service sector. There are several job opportunities in the service sector if you have the required skill that you could actually make money and earn a living from those skills if acquired. Thank you very much.
Thank you. From 2018 till now, we've had a whole lot of people travel abroad.
That's true.
Can you give us an estimated value of the number of people that have traveled abroad in the?
If I could, yeah, I could give you. If I went into the Canadian website of the number of people in Nigeria that has traveled abroad between the course of 2018 and 2024,
yes.
We had over 588,120 something, around that figure.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people moving from a particular country, and they cut across from the IT specialists, IT professionals, the nurses, the doctors, the healthcare professionals, even artisans, truck drivers. We had that over the period of time. With what you said, between the period of 2018 and now, that amount of people, that amount of visas were approved from just Canada alone.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the ones that have been approved from the United Kingdom or the ones that have been approved from France, maybe Spain. But these two countries, Canada and the United Kingdom, they form the migration history of our country, Nigeria. They've had a lot of people that's what those two countries, that's what they think about these days. Is either they go to Canada or they are in the United Kingdom for these job roles I've just spoken about: the doctors, the nurses, the IT professionals, the healthcare professionals, even the artisans like carpenters, welders, electricians. They are all migrating towards these two countries. That's the trends that we have monitored over time.
Recently I heard a baker that resides in this city. She just up and left, and we were like, "Oh, where did you go to?" She said she's in Japan right now. The first thing that came to my mind was language barrier.
Yeah.
And I asked her, why Japan? She said, any country in our country. Those were her words. Yeah. So it shows how deep this Japa movement is. But talking about succeeding locally.
Yeah. Locally?
Yes, in our country for us here in Nigeria. So succeeding locally, what skills and what skills do you think we should help encourage with our youth in order for them to succeed locally without them wanting to look forward to going out there?
As I said, thank you very much again. The service sector, is a gold mine. The service sector. If you could provide a service, you could actually earn a living in this country. There are some skills that people think are not for their class, in quotes. But those skills is what they end up going to do by the time they jackpot to those countries. You could be a professional launder, people that dry clean clothes. You could be, as I said earlier, you could partner. In this country, we don't regard partnership and collaborations as something to benefit from. You might have the money, you might have the idea. Collaborating together will even give you a much more edge, a much more advantage, in gaining from a particular sector. We have the fintechs technologies, we have the agritechs, agricultural technologies, we have, as I said, the service sectors, we have instituting study centers. As I said, collaboration is key. Collaboration and partnership is key to getting people involved. As much as people spend for this Canada and UK migration, people spend as much as 30 million to 40 million migrating to these countries. You can imagine how much 30 million worth of investment in your country will do for you. I've had people sell their houses because they will want to relocate their family just close by to my house there. Someone sold his house and he relocated, and while he got there, the job he was actually expecting didn't come true. So the wife was just the one working and providing for a couple of months. It caused a little rift like that in their family and all that. And now the guy is back home. It's terrible for him right now. I could say the least. It's terrible for him. So why put yourself in that shoes? As I said earlier on, you could think outside the box. The service sector holds a whole lot of opportunities. You could learn skills, even skills as technical as being an electrician. You can be a dry cleaner. You could, as I said earlier, you could own a farm or collaborate with someone that has a farm. You could earn something in that regard. Then you could put your ears to the ground. There's something that is also a gold mine in this country, in quotes. It's the real estate also. You could also be involved in real estate. You might not necessarily own the property, but you could, with information, get yourself involved and earn percentages over time. We're not saying you should stay there. You could actually advance also, to partnership and collaboration. So buying up properties, renovating and reselling. That's part of what I do also. How did I venture into it? I had someone that wanted to sell a house, and the house wasn't too good, but he wanted to save a particular amount of money. So I advised him that if you could invest XYZ amount of money into this house, this is how much you could make. He thought I was joking. So he reluctantly did it, renovated the house, and he got, I'm not kidding, times two of the amount he wanted to sell that property. So that gave me an insight. So I go about now looking for uncompleted buildings put together, and actually resell it for more than 3 times, 2 times, 3 times the price. So as I said, in this country, there are several avenues to make money, and information is key. Being at the right place at the right time. Don't have the general opinion of people. Don't dwell on the general opinion of people. Go and redo your research. There are several platforms where you could research on viable businesses. In some way, I don't know if you would wanted to come into it, but I want to come into this. In some ways, government can also help. Government can also help in this regard. If they could grant individuals, some interest-free loans, if there can be actual policies that can be tailored towards these youths and the various schemes that are involved. If they can bring them in, there are people that are really ready to do these things. Why some of them are not necessarily ready. They've had their mind already that, oh, I need to travel abroad.
I was going to go into that.
Okay.
I was going to go into that and tell you that of all the advices, very wise advices about giving now, there are some people that are very helping. They are ready.
It's Japa or nothing.
It is Japa or nothing. So I really want you to advise them. Just give them some form of advice, because right now their mind is made up. There is no staying back. I need to go. So what kind of advice do you have for them?
Well, as I said, I usually tell people, I said, your jackbarring, in quote, is not an escape plan. It shouldn't be an escape plan. You should have a purpose, the reason you are traveling abroad. Saying that you want your kids to have a better life, I don't think that's a reason enough for you to travel out. Saying that, oh, I want to earn money in foreign currencies because of the devaluation of your own country's currency is not enough reason, to travel abroad. If you could actually, know the reason, create a plan for yourself. Don't say, I'm traveling, I'm going to Canada. What are you going to do there? For the first 6 months, what are you going to be doing? For the first 1 year, what have you achieved for the first 1 year? What are you going to achieve for the first 1 year? So if you jackpot without a plan, you will find yourself regretting at the end of the day, like what my friend did. He thought probably if he had a lot of money, get a house there, over there, he will be able to be settled. There's a structured economy in most of these countries that we are trying to go. It's not as free as this country. In Nigeria is a very free country. If you travel abroad, you will know that Nigeria is free in terms of how we live our day-to-day lives. In terms of, you can just jump into a job opportunity that will get you a particular amount of money, but that doesn't really happen over there. You work the complete number of hours. So are you ready to work the complete number of hours that you need to gather the amount of money that will be sufficient enough for you to live that life, in quote, that you are expected to live, your reason for traveling? So I would advise anyone that is traveling abroad, jackbarring as it were, that is not an escape plan. You must be ready to walk wherever you are going to. You must be ready to devote your time, your energy to working and actually earning money from the number of hours, because they work per hour over there. For the
Yeah.
number of hours that you are working there, are you able to keep up with family? Will you be able to keep up with your children? There are several factors that are involved in traveling abroad that you need to be really ready for, other than thinking of getting a visa and just traveling abroad.
So dedication is key
Dedication is
at
key.
the end of
Yes,
the day.
dedication is key.
So there is this concept of greener pastures. It has been long in our vocabulary for a very long time, and it's even more now. Do you think the media affects it, or it shapes the perception of greener pastures? And how do you think they do that?
Yes, they do. If you notice the number of travel agencies in even on Instagram alone, you see how they paint these countries. They'll tell you that if you go to this country, you have the best standard of living at no cost. You'll be able to work and earn X amount of money. It's just they even inflate the money that you might be earning, maybe $25 or euros per hour, and you'll get there earning 11 euros or sometimes 9 euros per hour, and you get frustrated because that's not your calculation. You've calculated it already. So the media, they've not done a good job in actually giving the right advice, or rather the right guidance to those that needs to travel or wants to travel abroad. They've not actually given the right guidance. I think it will be better for the media to paint the picture as it is. Get real time and real life travelers or people that have relocated to tell us exactly as it is. I'm sure most of those things I come across them once in a while on even on Instagram posts and most of the social media posts. They tell us exactly what is going on there. That is not actually a bed of roses when you get up there. You're going to walk yourself out. A neighbor of mine, and a very advanced man in his 80s, he traveled recently to see the daughter in the United Kingdom. For the period of November and February that he traveled to see them, he only saw the daughter 3 times. The
Work.
same house. He said she was walking back to back, back to back. He would see her probably when she comes back, they are sleeping, or when she's leaving. There's no interaction. There wasn't any interaction for the period of time. So you can imagine that person didn't know this was how it was going to be by the time she was traveling there, even with her kids. They had to get and traveling with them was another 16 or 18-year old child that went with
As
them
a
to
help.
take as a help to take care of the kids while she goes back to back to get things done. It's a terrible thing. The media needs to give us the right picture of what is really happening in these countries. I haven't overheard in some Asia countries. I might not be
Totally correct.
totally correct that they actually eat human beings. I don't know how correct that is, but it's the level of maltreatment that some Africans have in most of these companies abroad. I don't know why the media doesn't carry it. There are some personal blogs that carry those instances and inferences of what they face in terms of probably racism in some countries, in terms of maltreating them in their workspaces, being that they're Africans and all that. And another thing, there are language barriers in some countries also has hindered their getting exactly what they require, what they need for their jackbarring. That's what I think.
Very,
Thank you.
very insightful. Thanks so much.
Thank you
So
so
we are
much.
going to wrap up now
Okay.
by talking about the reverse immigration.
Oh,
So
okay.
reverse immigration, I mean, people travel there and they see that what they expected is not what they have. So they come back. Which is more courageous? Staying back, even after when you see that what you expect is not what you have,
Yeah, well,
or coming back to your home country.
well, it takes the bold to actually stay. The reason we stay is not because we are hoping for a better we're hoping for a better country or a better economy. It's because we have taken advantage of the right information. As I told you earlier, information is key. If you have the right information, you might encounter the right skills, having the right information. So in the reverse immigration, those that actually went to go and try what's going on there. And this trial I'm talking about is not going there for 6 years and coming back. Most of them have stayed up to 23 years,
Yeah.
30 years over there, and they saw that for this better part of their life, they've not really achieved anything. Most of them, according in quotes, it's like an adage in this part of the country in Benin that I not even get. If I can use the local palace, I not even get an upstairs to my name for this past 30 years. So it's more courageous for you to stay and observe. My opinion, it's more courageous for you to stay and observe than for you to have spent all those money, probably have sold your houses, your properties, and now you've now gone there and you've now seen how it is there, and now you are now running back to the country. You are starting from the scratch.
Definitely.
Everybody that you have left, they are now light years. I'm not joking, they are light years ahead of you. Coming
20,
back,
20 years is a long
it's a
time.
long
It's a
time.
very
It's
long
a
time.
long time. Many of your friends would have amassed properties. They would have got started up companies. You will come back, ending up begging them, or probably for handouts and all that
For
stuff.
startups
That was
again.
for startups. Again. You will start from the scratch beyond reasonable doubt, except you have a good family that has been probably reserving a room in one of their mansions for you. So I've started to start up from there. So it's more bold, more courageous for you to have waited and observed the terrain, then get your information right. As I said, the media, they are not doing a good job in getting us the right information concerning some of these countries that we venture into. If they can get it right by getting us the right information, probably it will now make us to choose the right options and make the right decisions for ourselves. If it's okay for us to travel or to wait for a particular period before we travel.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
Mr.
much,
Ifan.
Lucy.
It was really lovely having you in the studio.
Thank you so much.
And there you have it, all on the Japa syndrome. So I hope you've learned a lot and I hope you've made your decisions from all you've heard from our amazing guests. And like I will always say, in every situation, there is always a silver lining.
Yeah.
Look for it, stay happy, and stay blessed. Bye for now.